today, we're going to be discussing content marketing, what it really means for your business, what it really looks like for you. We're going to talk about the strategies that you can use to create an effective content marketing campaign, and how you can quickly and easily implement content marketing into your business without breaking too much of a sweat, so that you can still have a life. So if that sounds good, I'm going to continue on. But if you are catching this on the replay, go ahead and type replay below. Let us know if you are doing any type of content marketing within your business, and sort of how are you relating that to business growth, and how is it moving your business forward. So what is content, right? So content marketing, and here's how it works. You as a business owner, you're going to generate content that your prospects will find interesting and very useful. So that's the key. You want it to be applicable to them. You want to focus on educating your prospect instead of selling to them, right? And it positions you as the expert in your industry, so that you are the authority in your field. And when you're the authority, people are willing to invest in what you have to offer. So that's what it looks like. So ultimately, as a business owner, you're creating and sharing free, valuable content to attract and convert prospects into clients, and clients into repeat buyers. So that's what content marketing is. And why should you do it, you ask? Well, here's some statistics for you. Content costs 62% less than traditional advertising, while still being 3 times more effective for generating leads. And that's what we want to do. We want to generate leads, get people into our sales process, and ultimately make them an offer, right? So 70% of people agree that content marketing makes them feel closer to a product or business, while 60% of people credit content for helping them to make better purchase decisions. So that's really, really interesting. So we're kind of shifting from the old model of advertising to content marketing, content creation. It's sort of like dating. You have to sort of give people a teaser, a sample, a demonstration that you can actually help them with something. And once they understand that you can help them, then you can move them along in your sales process, and they might want more. So you might offer things like a free course, or something that's going to allow them to invest more time working with your content, consuming your content, and ultimately you've built that relationship so that they're willing to invest in what you have to offer. So that's why content marketing is super important to your business, why you should adopt that as a marketing tool and strategy for your business. And I know for someone like me, where the summer months are coming up, there's things to do, there's barbecues and vacations and all these things that are going to consume my time. I want to make sure that I'm still putting out valuable, quality content that sets me as the authority in my field, that brings people closer to a purchase decision, and that ultimately just helps them to grow and meet their business goals. So that's what I want to continually do. And in order to do that, having a content marketing strategy in place, set in stone in your business, will really help to make sure that that continues on while there might be some other things going on, right? So while you still have a life, right? We want to create content so that you can still do the things that you really love. Does that sound good, Rachel?
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%.
Awesome. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 particular strategies in this live. Now, this live, I can go on and on and on about strategies for content. And I know Rachel will jump in soon with some additional strategies that we'll go over. But for the scope of this particular Facebook Live, I'm just going to give you 3 main strategies that you can be considering when creating an effective content marketing campaign for your business. Number 1, I want you to begin with the end in mind. So we're going to work backwards. Okay, so what do I mean by working backwards? I want you to be thinking about your paid programs, right? So here's how you could work backwards. So I like to offer, for myself, I would like to offer services that help current businesses to expand, to scale their processes, to increase their online visibility, and to set up lead generation structures. So for me, I would create content around content marketing, SEO, business processes. You get the picture. Those are the types of content pieces that I'd be creating. So what about you? I'd love for you to type in sort of what your paid programs are and what are some of the topics that you think derive from your paid courses and programs that you can create content around. If you're catching this on a replay or if you're here live with us, go ahead and type in the comments below the types of content topics that you think coincide and allude to your paid programs. Now, here's the kicker. You definitely want to make sure your content coincides with what you offer, but you also want to make sure your content meets the needs of your target audience. And that's where a research portion comes into play. You want to have your ear listening out to what they need, what they want, what their challenges are, what are their hangups. Once you understand a lot of these, then you can begin to create content around solving their problem and helping them get to a solution quicker. And then if you can do that, you set yourself in a position where they want to learn more from you. They trust you because you've helped them already. And now perhaps you can help them with a deeper problem and go further. And that's how you move people along your sales process. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. So I am learning about content marketing strategy, even though it is a part of content creation. So if I were going to apply this, I have a signature course I've created, and it's called Creating and Launching Your First Signature Course. So one of the topics from that is I like to dive in with potential clients or prospects, and I like to talk with them first about, do you even need a signature course? And so what do you think? Does that topic itself lend to being a topic for content creation?
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, you can create a checklist for people to kind of go over and have that be a criteria for them. And if, let's say, they check off the majority of the points, then that means that they can move forward in creating their signature course. You can also create a video interview, for example, and you can talk to them about, ask them questions on whether or not they are ready to create that course. And then between the dialogue between the two of you, you have something where people can begin to see themselves in that person, whether or not they are ready to create a course. That could be a video that you have on YouTube. So you can have a checklist, you can have a quiz, you can have an interview dialogue to really dive deep into whether or not they are. And like, for instance, you can have someone who is ready to create the signature course and all their criteria, and then you can have someone who exemplifies not being ready to create their signature course based on what you've determined to be criteria for them to move forward in creating a course. So there's lots of different ways to sort of create content and topics around that. Just be creative. I encourage you to be creative. You can even go to Google and type in that topic or a topic that you're thinking about and see what's already out there on Google. Because here's the thing, you don't want to duplicate what's already out there. You don't want to seem like you're just rehashing what's there because that's boring and that's already been mentioned. You want to be creatively thinking about ways to improve what's already out there on Google. So for instance, if there's a quiz on 3 different ways to determine if they're right to create a signature course, maybe you can create a test that has multiple layers of levels. So you're basically creating a better version of what's out there, and that's going to make you stand apart. So that's what I love to teach my clients, to see what's out there, be better, be different, stand out, be more creative. And then that's how people are going to be drawn into your business, with creating fresh content, a new take on things, a unique perspective about your content. Sound good?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Terry.
You're welcome. Okay, so strategy number 2. So we talked about being top of mind or working backwards. So that's just a strategy that I would consider. Think about what you have paid, work backwards. And strategy number 2 is to be top of mind. So you want to think about consistency. So I'm going to call this being top of mind, because we're thinking about being very, very consistent. And to illustrate being consistent and being top of mind, I recently read, I'm actually going to bring my note over this way because I actually read about a realtor who works in Miami, and he writes a weekly newsletter. And he writes about the properties that are being developed in South Florida, and he does this on a weekly basis. And he's very, very consistent. He has a subscriber base of over 20,000 people, and people are just, they trust him to send them the latest news on the developments happening in South Florida. So when an individual is ready to invest in a property in Florida, guess who they're going to call when they're ready to invest? This realtor, because he's been very, very consistent and because he is top of mind in their thoughts. So that's exactly kind of how I want you to be thinking about your strategy. Being very consistent, doing something on a weekly basis that you feel is easy for you to implement and to execute. Doesn't take a lot of your time. It's something perhaps that you are doing currently and that you just want to do a little bit more consistently, or you want to see if there's something that, takes a fairly short amount of time to execute. You want to make sure that you're just doing it consistently so you're top of mind. So that's the second content marketing strategy. The third strategy is actually one of my favorite, and it's making sure that we are tracking and repurposing. Okay. So when you're repurposing content, you guys, I want you to be thinking about data. So for instance, if you have a Facebook group, you can look at the audience insights and check out the stats on which posts perform the best, meaning which has the most engagements, what has the most likes, which has the most shares, comments, things like that. And so what you can do is you can take the same topic from that particular post and reformat it for another platform, a different platform. For instance, if you do a social media post that's text that got a lot of engagement, then perhaps you can create a video on the same topics. So for instance, if you have a post on how to get out a common stain out of a piece of fabric and it gets a lot of engagement, then you can consider creating a video demonstrating how to get that stain out of that fabric. And what people miss is that they don't cross promote. So I would encourage you to go ahead and cross promote those. So for instance, if you create that video that we mentioned, then you can promote the actual social media post. And then on the social media post, you can promote the video. So we're cross promoting, we're repurposing, but we're starting from the high performing pieces of content or posts that you've done. So those are your three strategies, guys. Number one, work backwards, begin with the end in mind. Number two, be consistent and be top of mind. And number three, track what works and repurpose. And don't forget to cross promote so that your content has more mileage and goes further and works harder for you, so that you can still have your life and work and do the things that you love and want to pursue. So those are the types of three strategies that I would encourage you to do. Okay, guys, so basically we talked about what content marketing looks like, right? So content marketing, how you're going to create content based off your paid programs and based off research that tells you what are the current needs and challenges of your target audience. And I know Rachel has this amazing concept of the walkaway message. She's way better to explain that than I am. But at the end of the day, you want to be memorable in the mind of your target audience, and you want it to correlate to what you really offer. So speaking for her, we encourage you to stay in your lane, understand your unique value proposition, what you really offer, what you do well, and focus on creating topics around those things. If you are a carpenter, I wouldn't suggest you creating content around marketing strategies, right? You could create content around what you're good at. So it's called your zone of genius, right? Stay there, create content there, but make sure you're listening out to what some of the challenges are. And you can use a tool called BuzzSumo to see sort of the popular posts. You can check out Google News. You can go into other Facebook groups. You can use social sites like LinkedIn or Quora or Reddit, or there's a ton, guys, to figure it out. You can really just listen in on what people are struggling with that's in your field that correlates with your course or your program. And then boom, you have your topic for creating valuable content around, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, makes sense. So
Speaking of Reddit, I only discovered just last week. I did not realize that Reddit had subgroups where people can go in and it's like Facebook groups on steroids because it drills down so far to like people who love 1953 and also drive a Taurus. I mean,
oh my gosh,
it's like crazy, but like I did not realize that there was a whole group of people. Like if you are all about finding your niche and finding out what people want to hear in your niche, I did not realize Reddit already had all of that put together for you.
Yeah, totally. Use Reddit, use other platforms that you could really search within these subgroups, like Rachel said, because these are listening tools. I mean, of course you can go in and comment and question, but use this as a data mine for you. Like go ahead and mine for information, ask those questions and take notes so that you can create your topics around that. We've talked about what content marketing looks like, 3 strategies to help you to create an effective content marketing campaign. And the final tip that we're going to share with you today is how to quickly and effectively implement your content marketing into your business so that you still feel like you have a life. And there's really cool ways to do that. And what Rachel and I suggest is you have a starting point. You want to have a point where you feel comfortable that you can do, again, like I said about that consistency, you want to do it every single week. And then you want to branch out from there. And I know Rachel has some really awesome tips to share based on how to start implementing it. But you want to have a starting point and you want to think about how you can repurpose what you're doing on a weekly basis and branch off from there so that you're not reinventing the content, you're just reusing it and reformatting it on another platform.
Go ahead and write out your talking points. Now, you may be like Sherry and I, where we come in and those talking points fly out the window once we get going. Write down those talking points because they're going to come handy. Go out and look for any images or resources, or if you're going to create a worksheet or something, just some kind of resource that you are going to use. And typically images are what most people use. I use images a lot. If you tune into the Thursday tech tutorials, I'll usually have some kind of image there to kind of guide us through what we're talking about. So do a little bit of research, find something visual. And then the last tip I have in your pre-planning your strategy here is take your walkaway message, which as Sherry talks about, you know, what you want to have top of mind. I call it your walkaway message. The one thing that you want people to remember about your live. Take that and kind of clean it up so that it's a quotable idea. Okay. So before you do your Facebook Live, write out your script or at least write out your talking points. Find some kind of visual resource. And then the third one is get your quotable message. If you aren't consistently putting links back to the replays of your lives, when those people jump into your community, they're going to miss it. We're in the community every day. We may think that we are in their face all the time, but we're not. You have to remember they see your link, they join your community, and they're in there for 5 minutes. So you've got to put your content out there where it gets in front of them. They're not seeing it as often as you think they are.
If you can actually post an image, a screenshot of your actual live, and then just add on a play button, you can get a lot more click-throughs to your replay than if you just had a link. So video marketing within email, reposting to the replays are really going to be a key strategy for you guys.
We both agree that the key to having a successful content marketing strategy, it's all about planning it out, knowing what you're going to say, and then being consistent and showing up and doing it. So we were saying that the one thing that we run into with people that come to us is that they get stuck with not knowing what to say. And then when they figure out what to say, what do they do next? And then we talk about the repurposing and how does that work? So Sherry and I combined our superpowers and we put together this awesome template because we want you to have it. This is such a great tool. And it's not like anything else out there because it really tackles the marketing side of it, the planning, and then the content side of it. So we want you guys to have this because we know that it's really going to help you go from what do I talk about to being a content creation machine. Okay.